Tonight on KGW News.
I lost everything.
Residents who ran for their lives dig through the rubble as an out-of-control brush fire in the Dalles destroys their homes. Plus, hackers hit the DMV, what everyone with an Oregon driver's license needs to know tonight. Then, back to work in Salem.
The Senate will please come to order.
What it took to finally end the longest walkout in state history. And later, Coast Guard to the rescue. How a pup who got stranded on a coastal cliff made it out to a happy reunion. And we begin tonight with the local connection to a global cyber attack. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. The hack hit businesses and governments around the world, including the Oregon DMV, which means anybody and everybody with an Oregon driver's license or ID card may have had personal data stolen. Let's get right to Catherine Cook. Catherine, we're talking about 3.5 million people here. What do we know about how and when this attack took place?
Well, David, ODOT tells us they believe the breach happened sometime at the end of May. They say the hackers exploited a vulnerability in a program called Move It, a popular tool for transferring files. The culprit, according to U.S. officials, is a Russian ransomware group.
I didn't realize it was the DMV, and it's pretty scary that people can get a hold of all this information about you.
Exactly what information may have been compromised in a global data breach, ODOT isn't saying. They are recommending anyone with an Oregon driver's license, permit, or ID card, that's some 3.5 million people, should monitor their personal credit reports.
So at this point, it kind of feels like, oh gosh, again, I have to go and do my data check and make sure everything is still safe.
Not good. It's a little stressful, you know, because I try to keep all that in check and, keep it private. It's important.
The Oregonian first published news of the DMV data breach Thursday morning and reported that the state first learned about it on Monday. And yet, ODOT didn't confirm the breach or inform the public until Thursday afternoon, a day after the Oregonian asked them about it. ODOT officials reasoned they didn't know just how serious the breach was until 48 hours ago. They say they'd been using the last 2 days to prepare DMV employees for how to answer questions from the public.
We have been very carefully and thoughtfully considering how to best address what we believed would be a number of inbound requests.
Many impacted by the breach feel that simply warning the public should have been ODOT's top priority, a notion they brushed aside when we brought it up.
It just seems like there is a lack of urgency here that you haven't taken account for.
I feel like that was more of a comment than a question, and Mark is back online, so I'm going to move on to Mark.
There's also frustration over ODOT not disclosing the specific personal information that may have been compromised. They did say compromised data could include information beyond what's printed on the ID cards themselves. It's worth noting, up until 2021, Oregonians were asked for their social security numbers when applying for a driver's license. ODOT says they don't want those responsible for the cyber attack to know exactly what information was compromised, which is why they're keeping it from the public right now.
We're basically trying to respect various different competing interests here around privacy, security, and disclosure, working with other security experts who also are providing us advice in this arena.
Under federal law, you have the right to receive a free copy of your credit report every 12 months when you request one from the 3 major consumer credit reporting agencies. We've posted links to all of them, including information on how to freeze your credit on KGW.com. David.
Yeah, lots of lingering questions tonight, including the one you asked, Catherine. Thanks so much. To an update now on a wildfire burning in the Dalles. Crews have made good progress containing the Milepost 87 fire, and evacuation levels have now been lowered. That means all level 3 go-no evacuations have dropped to level 2 get ready warnings. That includes the Oregon Veterans Home. As of this afternoon, the fire was 40% contained, though we have confirmed it destroyed 3 homes. Dave Dixon owns one of them. He said he was talking to a neighbor at his RV park when the flames suddenly leapt over the ridge.
Before I made it around the corner, the whole thing was on fire. I mean, engulfed in flames. If I would have been sleeping, I would have been dead.
Well, Dixon, an Army veteran, managed to rescue his dog, but nothing else. And he adds he has just $20 to his name. We have a link to his GoFundMe in an article up now on KGW.com. Meanwhile, in eastern Oregon, the Hat Rock fire is now 70% contained. It's burned almost 16,000 acres so far there. No structures have been reported lost. In Pendleton, another wildfire has burned 370 acres and some outbuildings on the north side of the city. That one, some good news, is now 99% contained. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. Now, Matt, sounds like the winds cooperated today. How's it looking for tomorrow?
Yeah, they're ramping down right now, David, but tomorrow they're going to ramp right back up as another surge of very cold air moves on in, which may bring us some rain to area. It will bring rain to parts of the state where the fires are burning right now. Have to wait and see what we can get, but there's a pretty good shot everybody will get at least some rain. The Dows at the moment, 68 in the winter, down below 10 miles an hour, which is great. And in fact, when we look at the rest of the eastern gorge, the winds are relatively calm. So that is definitely good news. Hopefully the fire crews will be able to take advantage of this calmer, cooler weather overnight tonight and in the morning before the winds pick up again Friday afternoon. That's my big concern because I think we'll get gusts in eastern Oregon again in the 30 to 40 mile an hour range as this next surge of cooler air begins to roll on in. Now there will be rain on the west side over the weekend, especially on Sunday, and snow in the Cascades, and in fact, quite a bit. David will have that Father's Day forecast later. Back to you.
Thank you, Matt. We are also following the aftermath of a tornado that ripped through the Texas Panhandle this evening. 3 people are dead and dozens injured in the town of Perryton. That's near the Oklahoma border. The video is still coming in. Reports say hundreds of people are now in shelters and tens of thousands are without power after the twister cut a swath through homes and businesses and made a direct hit on a mobile home park there. Witnesses say this tornado developed quickly and they had little warning. Let's turn to big developments now in the Oregon legislature, where today Senate Republicans ended the longest walkout in state history. It came after they struck a deal with Democrats that made some big changes around some controversial bills. Evan Watson takes a look.
The Senate will please come to order.
After 6 weeks, Oregon's Senate is back in business. Republicans returned to the floor Thursday, ending their walkouts, which stalled the passage of any new legislation. Republican Tim Knope, minority leader, said members of his party are prepared to show up for the rest of session.
We asked for constitutional, we asked for compromise. We have received that from your side. We appreciate everyone who was involved, and we just want you to know that we want to finish the session out in an extraordinarily bipartisan way. We hope we can accomplish that together. I think that will be best for Oregonians.
Democrats and Republicans hashed out an agreement over the last week. On House Bill 2002, the Senate adopted an amendment that a child 15 or younger would be able to have an abortion without parental consent only if 2 healthcare providers reasonably believe that involving a parent or guardian would lead to physical or emotional abuse. Protections for abortion and gender-affirming care in the bill are unaffected. Democrats are no longer proposing to raise the minimum age to purchase an assault weapon from 18 to 21. House Bill 2005 would still ban ghost guns, which are often homemade and untraceable. Senate President Rob Wagner, a Democrat, praised the negotiations that convinced Republicans to return to the floor.
We're really encouraged that the state of Oregon, the legislature came together here with enough time for us to reach a framework agreement and for us to be able to serve the people of Oregon.
The consequences of the walkouts for 10 conservative lawmakers are still in place. All 10 are expected to be ineligible for re-election because they racked up 10 or more unexcused absences, a new punishment that Oregon voters approved by passing Measure 113 in November. Wagner says he believes the Senate will catch up by June 25th.
Given the time that we have, if we work diligently, there can still be adequate conversation on the floor and that we're going to be able to move through the bill stack.
Evan Watson, KGW News.
Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, including a police pursuit from Vancouver to Portland that ended with 3 people arrested in connection with a drive-by shooting. Police say a 27-year-old man and 2 juveniles were taken into custody this evening after the suspects threw guns out the windows while crossing the steel bridge, then came to a stop right next to a MAX train on the west side. No one was injured in the shootings or during the chase. New funding from the state and Multnomah County will employ homeless people to clean up trash and graffiti. This is an expansion of the existing Clean Start program, which is operated by Central City Concern. The state is pumping in $1 million, with the county supplying $1.5 million. And new leadership is coming to Portland Fire and Rescue, with Fire Chief Sarah Boone announcing she plans to retire next month. Boone started with the agency as a firefighter in 1995 and took over as chief in 2019. She is both the agency's first black female firefighter and first black fire chief. Division Chief Ryan Gillespie will take over as interim fire chief. He's going to stay in that role until the new city administrator takes over Portland's agencies. That's in 2025.